we were looking at loss and grief today a little bit. I think there's a lot going on in the world and being a human being right now that warranted a little bit of exploration in that. In the sense that these things are still happening, there's sensations and feelings we're all dealing with. And so to come to a space where you can begin to utilize some of the tools that we have here in meditation just to help us learn how to hold these things a little differently, I thought might be useful. So that was the theme we were working with today. We started with the breath, kind of using that as an anchor, kind of using that as to modulate and feel what some of the thoughts were, or how some of the thoughts around these things landed within us. And keeping with that same idea, we started to scan the body and notice where these things I'd say, stuck or lodged, or maybe even just appear in our body. And with the breath, we kind of began to marry the two, using the breath as a way to create a bit of softness and a bit of openness and acceptance, and to just being with this moment. Not saying that we accept what's happened, but that we can hold all of it, all that comes with it now, that's a part of us. And then we moved from the body and the breath to um, kind of noticing a physical movement. So I had you just kind of sway slightly side to side and forward and back, as a gentle reminder that when we deal with these types of things, that we don't want to get stuck. We want to keep moving forward and allow these things to move with us, not to get away from it, but to know that this is something that now is a part of us. And we have to remind ourselves that there's still forward movement, even when it feels heavy and hard sometimes. And then we kind of closed it out with the inverse. I invited you to welcome in some gratitude and explore it, or the idea of gratitude, in a very similar way. And that kind of rounded us out and brought us to our full half-hour practice. And then the invitation is to close the eyes. If it feels safe and comfortable for you to close the eyes and get settled in, we send the gaze inward, because that's where our attention is going to be. It's going to be on what's going on inside of us physically, how our breath is moving, how our mind is dealing with all of this, and any feelings or emotions that arise along the way. There's a whole chemistry of things that make up your moment to moment experience, and your practice is the place where you get to explore them. I would ask you to consider what we call a wise intention for practice. And an example of that would be to allow yourself to be here and practice today in the kindest, most compassionate way that you can. Right? You're coming from a day of activity, a day of potentially dealing with judgments and deadlines and results. But here, it's just taking the moment as it comes, good, bad, or indifferent, and working our way through it with a bit of kindness and a bit of patience. Start to feel your breath moving. The breath is going to be our initial anchor that we start practice with today. You can kind of just feel the breath move in, the breath move out. And it's if you're lightly holding your attention to this sensation of breathing that's taking place in this moment. Noticing if the body's feeling a bit restless as you're just starting to transition and shift gears. Today's practice is going to kind of move us through the theme of loss and grief. So I think that there's a lot of changes happening, big moments happening in our lives currently. And there can be this sense that it's all happening so quick and it's not what we know. And so I'm going to invite us with opportunities to explore how that shows up for you. And we like to think of things here in practice as that they're on a continuum, right? Like they're on a sliding scale. So as we begin to work through this theme and this topic of practice today, know that you can take as little or as much from that as you like, and that your part of your practice will be kind of seeing what you can comfortably hold and sit with today. Even as the idea of that theme settles in, notice the way that reverberates through the breath. Any pausing, any types of sensation that might be responding to that idea. And as you're feeling the breath move in and move out, you feel its rhythm, right? The tempo that it's setting for you today. Each inhale breath creating space. So imagine as you breathe in that that breath is taking up the space in your body and maybe moving beyond the body, but it's expanding with each inhale. Subsequently, each exhale becomes overlaid with a sense of acceptance to simply what is in the moment, what's present here in the moment. And keeping with this sense of expanding and taking up space with each inhale and each exhale, kind of representing a sense of acceptance for the moment. Invite into your mind a memory or a time in which you kind of can recall experiencing a sense of loss or a sense of grief that you've had to contend with. And as I kind of alluded to earlier, it doesn't have to be the worst thing that's ever happened, but just enough so that you can kind of work through feeling this with the breath and with the body. Using our thoughts as a tool in this way, we're trying to really find the balance between the memory and the noticing of how that lands in your breath right now. Noticing the parts in the experience that might resist or even kind of shy away from allowing this to be here in the present. letting the exhale soften that and open you to the acceptance for this being here in this moment. And allowing these thoughts and sensations to arise in the moment and to meet them with a bit of compassion and friendliness will begin to cultivate space for you. Noticing that even as you're sitting here with the breath, there's still a bit of aliveness moving through the body, through the mind, through the ambient sounds of the room. Keeping with the same idea, I ask you to kind of soften your attention from the breath and now begin to move into feeling how these thoughts and arise in the body as a matter of sensation. And it's if your attention is like a spotlight that moves down the body, checking in with and noticing how you're physically receiving the theme of practice today. The idea of sitting with a recent loss of some kind or a recent moment or dealing with grief, letting your attention move from the crown of the head, noticing any sensations you might feel there or the absence of them, sensing and feeling the weight of the eyes in their sockets, noticing your visual field, noticing that the areas of the body where maybe some of these thoughts start to find space in. Our eyes is often one of those places. They can feel heavy or weighted. Same with our jaw. You might sense or notice tension there that you're holding. Moving down into the neck and the shoulders, all the way down into the chest where your heart is, where your heart beats, feeling the rhythm of your heartbeat, any tension there, any weight there. Usually, when things change or aren't going our way, our heart holds a lot of that. Can you let your non judgmental attention just be in this space with your breath, breathing into the heart breathing out with a sense of acceptance for the moment and compassion for holding this moment, along with the aliveness and the energy of the present. If the mind is distracting you or pulling you to another place, remember that bringing your attention back is a part of the practice and doing it in a kind and loving way. Moving from the heart, we start to expand our attention down through the arms into the hands, noticing if you're gripping with the hands, can you soften those? Can you feel the weight of your arms and the tension there? The aliveness of the pulse of your body here in the arms. Feeling the breath in the belly, moving in and moving out, scanning for and looking for any tension that might be there, any gripping of the belly, any discomfort, or its opposite. There can be a spaciousness, a hollowness that sometimes finds its way here in the belly when we're dealing with challenging thoughts or feelings. Letting the attention move now to the pelvis, to the legs, and to the feet. Using the sensations and the weight of this part of our body. Feel where they're connected to the earth or to the surface beneath them, how they anchor you, and the lightness of the heart and the breath and everything above you as you've worked your way to this space. And as if you were zooming out with a camera lens, sense your whole body from head to toe. All the sensations that have arisen up to this point serve as a reminder that both situations can be true. You can sit with discomfort and be okay, that stillness and movement can be right next to one another. That one part of your body can be alive with sensation and the other can be quiet. And most importantly, none of that is wrong. If anything, this is what your resilience is, your ability to be with all parts of yourself, to let the breath move you, to watch the changing natures of the sensations in your body, to give yourself a bit of space from the flow of life moving through you. And as you're seated here, begin to just let your body slightly either rock forward and back or side to side. A very small little movement, but just enough so you can feel the body kind of swaying in space. And it's done in such a soft and subtle way to remind us that we're never really stuck, right? We're always able to find a little bit of movement to keep the flow of things moving through us. And in this way, we can gently soothe a bit ourselves with this movement, this soft little rocking is a reminder that we continue to move forward in spite of the outcome being different than we might have expected, in spite of things not going our way in these circumstances we've encountered. That you can be with what is while continuing to move and be alive, you can begin to let the body restill itself and let the attention soften a little bit, allowing in a sense of gratitude and appreciation to enter the space, to enter your mind, to move through your breath and through your body and into your heart, for sitting with the moment, for bearing witness to all parts of yourself. for inviting in the opportunity to do that from a space of compassion and curiosity, to cultivate a different relationship with yourself, one that's fueled by presence rather than avoidance, and compassion rather than resistance. And in the same way that you felt all the previous thoughts, allow your attention to follow this sense of gratitude and appreciation for being here in the moment, for the opportunity to explore all of your aliveness, for the access to the tools, for your curiosity to show up today. Feel it in your breath, follow it into your body. Notice where it lands and how that might be different from other things. Letting your attention softly land back to just feeling the breath. Noticing here as you observe the breath that you're still here. You sat with whatever came up, and your breath and you are still here. Your attention stayed where you needed it. All of it a reminder of your own human resilience, not the absence of discomfort, but the capacity to be present with it and still connected to the rest of you. May we continue to cultivate that skill beyond the practice. You can wiggle the fingers a bit, slowly start to blink the eyes open. Let the rest of your visual field kind of re enter the space. Take a breath and notice Notice what lingers from practice. I'll give you a bit of a recap to close out the practice.